lovelies, welcome back to my platform Dating Books. I'm actually making this video after a very long time. I'm really sorry that I couldn't be making videos all this while, but that doesn't mean that I have not been reading. I've been reading a lot of great books. In fact, I'm back to review a book that I read just recently and I just loved it. It's this particular book which is called The Last Queen by the author Chitra Banerjee, Divakaruni. Now a little bit about the author. Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni has written many books, largely based on mythology, but this one is based on a royal family. A couple of books that I've read of hers which are amazing. One of it is, The Forest of Enchantments, which is Ramayana from Sita's point of view. I think it got released in the year 2019, which was amazing. Another great book by her is The Palace of Illusions, which is Mahabharat from Draupadi's point of view. Even that's an amazing book, guys. So this book by her, which is, The Last Queen, was written by her recently. It was just recently published in this year, it is 2021. It is about this royal family and it is set in the year 1880s, when India was under the British rule. But some parts of the country were ruled by our kings. Okay, so this is set in Punjab actually. It's about, this lady whose name is Jindal Kaur. She happens to be the daughter of the kennel keeper of Maharaja Ranjit Singh of Punjab. Now he was called as the Lion of Punjab. He was so brave, so fierce, and he had actually fought many wars and protected Punjab against the Britishers. And he was in his 50s maybe. I don't know the real age when actually Jindal Kaur got married to him, but largely 50s or beyond that. And she was just in her teens. She just turned 18. So she would have met him when she was like about 16 years of age, and they would have gone for like a couple of rides in his favorite horse, and that's when she confesses her love towards him. And he kind of asks her to wait until she turns 18, and after that he kind of keeps up to his commitment and marries her. So that's how they get married, and then she is brought to the kingdom, which is his palace, and once she's brought there, she actually faces a lot of humiliation and a lot of envious eyes are on her. She tries hard to get along well with them, but that doesn't happen. She faces a lot of difficulties over there, but she kind of puts up with it. One good thing that happens to her at the palace is that she gets Mangla as her maid servant, who's really nice, and she becomes her eyes and ears and kind of tells her what other people are doing or thinking about her, and this kind of helps her to put up with difficult situations at the palace. Another great thing for her is that she is the most favorite queen of this Maharaja, and so it kind of helps her in confiding to him the difficult situations, and he also helps her in solving those issues. Not just that, they come across as a couple who kind of talk about the daily issues of Punjab. So she's kind of a match to him when it comes to about discussing these real issues that Punjab is facing and how to deal with them. She kind of has those conversations with him. They have a son, but just after he's born, in a couple of years, he kind of faces death because he's pretty weak with all those fightings and all those wars, and this leaves her in sort of a depression. She's kind of left alone. But with the help of the Wazir of Punjab, who's like right next to the king, he kind of helps her get out of that place so that she can get out of the humiliation and she's safe. Like otherwise everybody would try to capture Punjab, or rather I would say capture her and her son, because he might become the next king. Though there are 3 people in line to become the king, they would always want to attack her because, as I said earlier, there are a lot of envious eyes on her. So for a few years she's away from Lahore, but when all those 3 people who are next in line for throne, they die due to unexpected circumstances and wars, she's been asked to get back by the Wazir to actually throne the younger son, Dalit Singh, as the king. Now, of course, he's just 6 years old, so she becomes the regent of Punjab, and she kind of defies the traditions and she doesn't stay in the palace, but she sits across the table and has conversations, these fierce conversations with the important ministers, and she discusses about the affairs of the state and takes some very great decisions, and also encourages Punjab army to go on war with various other state armies as well as the British. She actually puts out all that's in her to protect Punjab. Okay, now so there are many wars that they fight when she is the regent. So due to unexpected circumstances, she and her son are separated and she is sent to a prison. After that, she kind of escapes from that particular place, and she meets her son after many years, and she realizes that he's been brought up by the Britishers. After they are united in Calcutta, they decide to go back to London, and they have a peaceful life over there for the next few years. Now, this book is based on a true story, and let me tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed reading each and every page of this book. And I mean, she's from a very poor background, and the way she carries herself in all those hardships, getting married to him, after that how she runs the state, the fierce conversations she has, such a fierce personality, the kind of decisions that she takes, the so bold and courageous personality she is. She's actually somebody who's a perfect example of how a woman should be if she's supposed to lead a country, or even a company for that matter. Such a fierce personality. I was really inspired while reading this book. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. In fact, this is another masterpiece by Chitra, Banerjee, Divakaruni, and I give it a 5 on 5. I urge each of you to pick up this book and read it. It has, I think, about around 340 pages or so. Now, before leaving, I'll just read out the synopsis alone for you. I am Rani Jindal, mother of the Khalsa. That is my identity, that is my fate. Daughter of the royal kennel keeper, the beautiful Jindal Kaur went on to become Maharaja Ranjit Singh's youngest and last queen, his favorite too. She became regent when her son, Dalit, barely 6 years old, unexpectedly inherited the throne. Sharp-eyed, stubborn, passionate and dedicated to protecting her son's heritage, Jindal distrusted the British and fought hard to keep them from annexing Punjab. Defying tradition, she stepped out of the zenana, cast aside the veil, and conducted state businesses in public. Addressing her Khalsa troops herself, she inspired her men in 2 wars against the Firans. Her power and influence was so formidable that the British, fearing an uprising, robbed the rebel queen of everything she had, including her own son. She was imprisoned and exiled, but that did not crush her indomitable will. An exquisite love story of a king and a common, a cautionary tale about loyalty and betrayal, and a powerful parable of the indestructible bond between mother and a child. Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni's unforgettable novel brings alive one of the most fearless women of the 19th century and inspiration of our times. In fact, her son in the end says that though my father was called the Lion of Punjab, it's actually my mother who should be called as the Lioness of Punjab. She was that sort of a courageous woman actually. I really enjoyed reading this book, guys. The Last Queen by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. Please grab a copy to read. Happy reading!